d4 on the board by Denis Lazovic.
I mean, d4 move, it just wouldn't even cross my mind. Very often one move is enough indicator. It's just like impossible to find d4. Absolutely impossible. Let's check if it's the main move, if it's the best move. It's second line, yeah. No, I mean, one move, clear indicator to me. I mean, it wouldn't even like cross remotely my mind, such move. I mean, even in classical game, I'm not sure. In Blitz, no chance at all. So everything is very clear to me about this game. I report, I block, and report.
His opponent, Nodabek Yakubev, goes knight f6. They're both youngsters playing in the qualifying section of the Champions Chess Tour event, the Chessable Masters. The big boys will be joining soon. And what does Denis do here? He goes on to steamroll his opponent here in this Kasparov Tal-like manner that's just awesome to behold. You're gonna love this one. The explosive c4 is played. Now we get e6. Knight to c3po, and it invites a mainline Nimzo Indian. I swear you hardly see this these days. They constantly dodge it with knight f3, but we see it today. The bishop gets developed with a whoosh, and now we see a3 allowing the pawn structure to be mangled. You capture like this, and although the pawn structure is a bit dodgy, you get that bishop pair. The strategic battle's underway. The c pawn now advances, and I dare you to capture. Leave yourself with what they call the Irish pawns. I mean, there's a structure only a mother could love. It wasn't played. Instead, f3 exposes the king. Ooh la la, but you are preparing e4, massive big white center. So d5 shuts down on that and sets up the pube. Pawn cube for sure. Denis of course shaves it. You don't want to live with that for too long. We now see captures, and e3 seen as e4 no longer available. White with the big presence in the center, but of course you have to be a bit careful of the monarch. Castles is now played. This bishop develops to the natural square, and after b6 we see what's on the way here. Knight e2, no, not a rook fianchetto, but here we get the hyper fianchetto of the bishop. That little piggy's gone to market, trying to chop this one off. It's such a dangerous attacker, and after castles, rook e8, knight g3, we see the exchange of those pieces. Queen recaptures. Now you could go g6, say, to cover a square here, but then this is weak, and you've got no dark squared bishop. So instead this was played. Good move, and now a strange looking move, but it's actually really logical. Bishop b2. Now you're staring at a wall of pawns. What is that all about? Well, you freed up the a rook to join the game. You know, this is the key thing, and on d2 it did look a little bit clumsy, you know, blocking in the queen here. And now this seems to be a very key moment, right? Because knight a5 is played and it goes to Siberia. White just crushes it from here. What could have been played, I've done some clicking. This seems to be a very key idea. Reminds me of a Carlsen game versus Anand where Magnus clinched the World Chess Championship for the first time. Now the queen drops back, right? And then this is another big idea. You're threatening to dislodge the knight. If white goes h4, there's queen c7. It gets a bit drafty. Counterplay for black. So this is the best way to go. Bring the rook. Go for the e4 idea, but now your knight stumbling back to the corner. A knight in the corner. Is there ever forlorner? And this is how you get some play. The knight re-enters, but black really gets these going quick. Just showing you a quick sample line. You still get the e5 break, but now here. Maybe you spin here and here one day or something. You know, this is just a sample line. You can see black's getting play. This is the dynamic, balanced fight which should occur with proper play. However, this one played as mentioned on the edge, fall off the hedge, very stinky boo-boo, really needs to reassess its life decisions. And now rook ae1, knight c4, but the calm bishop c1, and fear not, Denis is not about to resign, already setting up for the next game. No, he's pointing all his pieces at the black king. He wants to kill, 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 and watch this, it's instructive. b5 goes for the counterplay, gives the queen a square, but here it comes e4, and what you should do is take on d4. Really critical move to chuck in. However, the immediate queen b6 is played. That should have been the follow-up. What's the big difference? Well, now, after you roll forward with e5, you can't take that pawn. Imagine a world where you've taken, pawn takes, now there's a pin down here on this pawn. The queen's had its eyes opened. Therefore, you'd be able to take here. 2 attackers, 1 defender. But okay, that's not the game. Now the knight is stumbling backwards to d7 here, and after f4 takes, we really see the problems. I mean, white is rolling. They see it. They hate it. Dennis is humming away. g6 looks to put a lid on it all, but it's a bit of a fake way to stop it. Now, it does set a trap. The idea being, if you now push preemptively, or not preemptively, but too fast, whatever the word is, can't remember, long day, then there's a problem, you crash through here, pawn is pinned. Same themes I mentioned earlier. So, the king gets out of dodge here. It's really bugging me, I can't remember what the word is I'm looking for. Something beginning with P, and you do it too fast when you shouldn't have done. What was played in response here? Well, f5, of course, to stop white from going f5. Now, you're desperate to take en passant. Most top professionals do it when given the chance. In some countries, it's obliged, or you get a finger chopped off. Plus, you get to bellow it in your best French accent, but not played here. Instead, this is what really struck me the first moment, Kasparov-esque. Whack! Dennis smashes through there on f5, gives a knight for 2 pawns here, simply to get his own ones running. Now, you could go queen e6, rook e7, different ideas to stop this piece from dropping. But what we see in the game is knight f8, no mate, as they say. But now check, and this is the idea. Whatever you've done, queen e6, rook e7, do something with the knight. All that's happening is the queen's getting out the way, queen g6, queen goes away once more, and the pawns are rolling. There's no pressure on the centre. This one looks great, but it's sort of firing into thin air. Very much firing blanks, bit of a jaffa. And now queen f5, what's that really doing though? It's like taking a water pistol to a house fire, ain't going to achieve much. And now we get g4, highlighting the issue. Sets up the bayonet pawn formation. Be careful of this end if you ever face it over the board. It does get sharp, very pointy end. Now this queen goes away, and look at this. We're rumbling, we're rolling. It's an upside down bathtub, or an umbrella, or a boomerang. I don't know, call it what you will. It looks cool. Now we get a5 played, but it's a bit too little too late, right? I mean, you're pushing p over there. This one's over here. Must be laundry day, because that king is being hung out to dry. Bishop h6 enters the final piece into the attack, and you know you're in trouble when Stock Barnacle wants knight e6 as the top move here. Very smelly. We now see queen d8 looking to bounce out, hit this little guy. Now e6 is played. This one, simple chess. You could have played queen f4, keep it on the board, but why not exchange when you've got these? Wow, rumbling down. First the center collapses. Don't Botez gambit. Dennis doesn't do it. He's picked up like a million pawns now. Very full tummy.
Mushrooms.
And after the knight is hit, it jumps in, hits the rook, but here's some nice icing on the cake. Do we see that rook move? No, we do not. This is where I picked up the live broadcast, loving this game. What does Dennis do? Pawn f6. I mean, how cool does that look, right? These cannons down here have literally just fired off the cannonballs. They're making their way down, about to blow up the king and the rooks and everything. And so if you execute your threat here, well, then there's many good moves. You could simply go e7 check. But this one's nice. You first check with the queen, and then you start running in like this. I'm not going to keep going on the whole line, but this is the idea. The king's way too exposed, getting mated or winning tons of material. There's loads of lines, but as you can imagine, it's horribly over. So we come back here. What was played in the game? Rook takes on e6. Again, you can check from c5, but Dennis instead comes to the 7th heaven. He's looking to mate down on g7 and that sort of thing, or deadly check anyway. Queen g5 to cover was best, but we see takes on e1. Now the check is flicked in, king e8, and of course you do have to tread precisely, as so often in chess here. You know, you can't capture the rook with check. Uh-oh, spaghetti-o, you've just had the butt flap fall out there because queen recaptures with check, and now you're the one getting killed. So we come back. That of course wasn't played. Instead, this pawn advances all the way down the board. King d7, it's in the delivery suite, and it's a baby girl. Check is on the board, discovered check, so no time to take, of course. The king scurries away. No, it doesn't. The rook blocks. Apologies for getting my own lines. Now we see check. Now the king is scurrying, or sking's currying, if we want to mix it around there. Check is played, spoonerism, that's the word. Scurries into the corner here, and now after the rook drops off the board, three-way threat going on. You know, mate being the biggest threat, that would shut the trap. Also, you're going to win a queen, rooks on prees, blah, blah, blah. So if you do this, let's say, and this, well, we can stop here. It's game over, right? You got a rook for a rook, and a queen for a knight, as well as a million pawns, as well as you're about to get checkmated. Brutal game by Denis Lazovic. Enjoyed that one, and looking forward to the rest of the tournament. If you enjoyed, check out the video on screen for more epic chess, and do hit subscribe. Really helps my self-esteem, and I hope to see you again soon. Cheers.